That's right, the buzz is back. I'm Brad.
And I'm Beth.
Welcome to Bites and Buzz, where we explore the backroads of the Carolinas, looking for the people, places, bites and buzz that make this part of the country so unique.
So sit back, take a load off, and join us for Bites and Buzz.
Craft beer is everywhere in the Carolinas, with new breweries popping up almost daily. And while most folks think of Asheville, Charlotte, Raleigh, and Charleston as the centers of the beer universe in the Carolinas,
some small town breweries are beginning to make a big impact on the craft beer industry.
Just south of Charlotte in Lancaster, South Carolina, sits the Benford Brewing Company. Founded in 2012 by owner and head brewer Brian O'Neill, the Benford Brewing Company takes unique to a whole new level. From grain to glass to table, Benford Brewing is South Carolina's first operating agricultural brewery. We wanted to know what being an agricultural brewery actually means. So, we decided to take a road trip.
And getting there is no easy task.
We went down winding roads, past fields of corn, and all sorts of various types of livestock. Then we went down even more winding roads and past even more livestock.
Fortunately, we made it without a hitch.
Now, the first thing you'll notice at Benford is it's not your typical brewery and tap room.
In fact, the brewery is built right into the family farm.
With cattle on site, fields ready to plant, and Brian's family homestead right there next door.
Don't let looks deceive you.
Their operation may be part of a working farm, but their beers are some of the best you'll try anywhere in the region. Now make sure you don't just stop by Benford Brewing to grab a drink.
I beg your pardon?
Their operating hours are only on Saturdays for just a few hours.
Holy mackerel!
Why? Well, their tap room is actually the floor of the brewery, so they have to clear space so that you can enjoy some of their beers. Fortunately, Benford is available throughout the Carolinas at local grocery stores and on tap for your enjoyment.
Pudding time!
So what is it that makes Benford such a special place? We sat down with Brian to find out why a guy gives up building pools to brew beer full time.
My first office manager in 2001 bought me a Mr. Beer kit for Christmas. I remember when I finally broke it out for like St. Patrick's Day. And I'm single, sitting in my house, looking at this kit, going, okay. So I was like, I'm going to brew a batch of beer today. So I'm reading this thing, and I'll never forget where it says, if you want to increase the alcohol content, add sugar. Okay.
And that's exactly what he did.
That's exactly what we did. Never forget, it tastes like apple cider. It was so infected and nasty. I didn't know what infection was. It just tasted like a bunch of crappy apple cider. And it felt like there was a marble going around my head and circle like between my skin and my skull. And I was like, what do you think, buddy? He goes, it ain't that bad. He goes, makes my head tingle. I said, well, damn, my head's tingling too. And that was our first beer. So we drank every bit of it, like 24 bottles of that crap, just because we had it.
Born from a simple home brew kit, what became Benford Brewing was a simple stress release during a poor economy. But it's really Brian's wife, Kim, who deserves the credit for getting them going into the beer business. See, she used to actually make Kahlua and pass it out to her clients. Brian thought it was a great idea, so he brewed up some beer and started giving it to his clients as well.
This beer, then the next year they would say, hey, you gonna brew that beer again? I can. So we'd go make another batch, for Christmas for these guys. And it became like 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009.
But it was the birth of their son that was the actual tipping point.
My wife politely came down the stairs and says, I love the way the house smells when you brew. I love everything about brewing beer, but we're making a lot of noise. And a lot of noise meant the water turning off and on, the pipes rattling through the house. And, you got to keep the little dude asleep. Completely understood that, so I moved everything into the shop. Me and my dad were brewing a batch of beer. My mom was playing with the baby with my wife. We're up here brewing beer, we're talking, and, same old stuff, We're just stirring up some beer, and my dad goes, you like this, don't you? I said, I like what? He goes, you like beer. You like brewing beer, don't you? That's pretty cool. And he says, boy, I see this building becoming a brewery one day. And that's when the light turned on.
And as the saying goes, the game was afoot.
I remember listening to this podcast and they're saying, a lot of people can brew beer, and that's true. Brewing the beer is not that hard. The going through the process is not that hard. He goes, but they said if you had a choice to go between brewing school and business school, if you want to start a brewery, I'd go to business school. And I said, well, I've already owned a business since 2001, been embezzled, learned a bunch of stuff, working my way through things. I've screwed up everything you screw up in the business, so I think I've learned my lessons on half of the stuff.
So Brian took the plunge, started his corporation, sent off for his federal and state licenses, and was on his way.
So I mailed off my state license, gave them $400. 2 weeks later, I get my state license back. And they says, congratulations, you're now legal in South Carolina. He goes, we did not get your distribution agreement. You have 30 days to get this to us or your license voided. Uh-oh. Help the Miller guy. Get to talk to the owner, Chip Comer. So the next day, these guys show up, and they show up to my barn, basically. Got these 55-gallon homemade drums of beer, and poured them in oyster stout. And he said, he goes, I could sell this. He's like, really? He goes, yeah, seriously, I could sell it.
And just like that, Benford Brewing was off to the races.
We didn't have no, here we are, we're open, we're in business, there's no parties. I mean, nobody knows anything about this brewery starting. So I go in by myself, didn't know Eddie very well. I would sit in the corner of this little bar and wait for somebody to order the beer. And I saw somebody drink beer for the first time. And somebody took it and goes, this is made here in Lancaster? And he goes, yep. And I was sitting there going, oh crap, this is pretty cool. So that's kind of where the hook got set in. When you see somebody enjoy a product that you spent your entire adult, even teenage livelihood, how cool Spud McKenzie is and the Frogs, and when you actually see somebody consume something that you made in that same category, that's pretty cool.
So what's the deal with the agricultural designation from the state of South Carolina?
One day I get a phone call, this was last year, and I get a phone call from the Department of Agriculture. So every time anybody calls me, I think I'm in trouble. So they say, we'll come out and check the place out. I was like, okay, why? That's why. So she comes out. She's like, she looks around. She's like, why are you not part of our ag department? Didn't know I was supposed to be. And she goes, man, this is awesome. And I said, I don't know what it qualifies. We just brew beer and I feed my cows. Like, did I qualify for the Department of Ag? She goes, do you qualify? Hell yeah, you qualify. I was like, okay. I said, well, how much does it cost? She goes, it's free. It's free. So we can just fill this piece of paper out and we'll help promote you and do tours out here. And this is a huge part of the economic development of South Carolina. Things exactly what you're doing. Sign me up. And that's how we got that recognition.
So what sort of impact has Benford Brewing had on the local economy? We stopped in at the craft stand on Main Street in Lancaster to ask Don Garrity his thoughts on Benford Brewing.
Well, Brian was a huge influence. I mean, I spent a lot of Saturdays out there just, shooting ideas around and just, the whole concept of here was developed at Benford Brewery, honestly. I mean, that just seeing the support that he gets from the community made me realize that, the city was probably ready for us to open.
Restaurants and bars are not the only establishments that benefit from having Benford Brewing around. Sherry Doster at the Bob Doster Backstreet Studio in downtown Lancaster says that Brian and Benford Brewery have been great for everybody, including their own studio.
A few years ago, a very nice young guy, Brian O'Neill, showed up and was wanting to look at doing some things to incorporate art into beer labels and into branding. In the beginning, it was just tap handles for the brewery. Then it was tap handles for the brewery and for a local business, Grinder's Restaurant. And then Brian's business grew so much that it's become a standing job. It is a job that Bob can count on to do these commissioned tap handles for Brian monthly. And it's very cool. It's very cool for Bob to be involved in having his artwork as part of another local business that he can relate to.
It's obvious that the future looks bright for Benford Brewing, but where does Brian see them going from here?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we have to expand. And we definitely want to keep this whole thing agricultural. You know, we're dabbling with the meat business. We got farmers that are starting to work together with some local farmers, and we want to fix up a chicken barn and start putting chickens out there. And if we give a very low-key tasting room, farmers market stuff, where somebody could actually come drink a beer, buy eggs, pick up a pint of honey, maybe even take a couple hamburgers or steaks home. It all comes off the farm. That's where we want to see this go. We are a destination brewery, and if we keep it destinational, and we do like our concerts twice or 3 times a year, where people are looking forward to coming back out here, I think that's really where this is going to go. And keep it educational, keep it family friendly, keep it about beer. That's where the future's at, in my opinion.
Whatever the future holds, we know that Benford Brewing will continue to brew a great beer.
So that's the buzz at Benford Brewing in Lancaster, South Carolina.
Look for their beers at local grocery stores and on tap throughout the Carolinas.
And be sure to stop by the brewery on Saturdays, but call ahead to ensure their hours.
This has been Beth and Brad with Bites and Buzz. Thanks for following us.